PolyTalk, it's a story, a young story like that of our industry that started back in 2010 as a will from our industry to provide a platform for all of those stakeholders that are key to address societal challenges. This year's topic actually is indeed very important because it relates to the reindustrialization of Europe and this industrial renaissance and how we can concretely make it happen. It's not only also about increasing the GDP contribution, but it's also about making that happen in a sustainable way.
We bring together 300 billion of economic activity in Europe. We bring together something which approaches more than 1% of the total GDP of Europe, but more than 4% of the R&D spend in Europe.
Capitalism is not going to disappear, but it's going to be utterly, profoundly, fundamentally transformed. What you don't want in this industry in 20 years from now is still be in the sunset of petrochemicals.
The biggest barrier we face, especially in Europe, is the banning mentality.
We need reindustrialization. The Commission has set a 20% target for industry's participation in the GDP in the future. I think the only way we can really move in that direction is by thinking circular economy.
When you take account of the legislative environment, you know, REACH we heard about earlier, and there have been various comments made about REACH, but when I look at the attitude behind REACH in Europe, the approach to zero risk, to assume we can have a zero risk society, and the impact that that has on innovation, then you start to wonder whether Europe can really transform itself when it has that kind of attitude to risk and to innovation.
Do you knock on the doors of these associations?
It's fine coming up with these grand ideas in Brussels, but you're not the guys who go and tell the men and women in these factories that they're all losing their jobs. We're sort of rabbits in the headlight.
I don't see that the Commission is acting on this direction. So Italy presented the budget, and the objection was that the budget was not in equilibrium, and they asked a reduction of 2.4. But I think, what does it mean? What kind of Europe we are creating?
We are doing our best, and we are doing more than ever.
I wonder what implications does it have for the call of Mr. Zavoni in terms of a sectoral policy here focusing on plastics. If really what we're talking about is value chains that cross-cut many of these sectoral boundaries.
You have to replace products when the performance allows you to do it, not because regulations are telling you that it's compulsory.
The 20th century was about conquering the world. And the 21st century could be about conquering the quality of life. For the quality of life, we need new technologies. We need sustainable development, medical research, human rights, fighting poverty.
Do we want a local industrial base in Europe? Do we value local production? Or as someone said yesterday, do we see prosperity in a service economy only? I would argue that without manufacturing, you don't have a vibrant, sustainable economy.
So a message to policymakers will be, keep in mind the one regulatory text per day. We don't want to be lawyers, we want to remain as engineers.
A lot of the concern stems around a lack of trust that the EU will be able to negotiate a fair deal for Europeans.
What is important to take note here is that these negotiations are between equals.
Young people, especially young people that are well educated and that they are ambitious, they are looking for meaningful jobs.
I would put another side to the question. Are academics the right people to be training graduates with what you would describe as employability skills? I know from my experience that many of my colleagues really shouldn't be allowed out in public. They are not of your world. Academics, this is where you hate me.
I realized that without plastic, we do not have any Salomon product on the market.
Oh, you're listening? And he goes, plastics is the future.
There is no strong industry without a strong chemical industry.
We want to succeed in reindustrializing Europe. But the question we also have to ask is, reindustrialization in what kind of economy? For what society?
I personally enjoy people, planet, profit as a very simple way of encapsulating the values of sustainable development.
I would ask policymakers, please look at our industry. We are a solution for everything you want: climate, resource efficiency, and closed loop.